Hey guys, welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to improve your aim on Apex Legends. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and go down here and go into training mode. Ready that up. If you haven't completed the training mode, it's something I highly recommend you can complete before entering an actual game, because it actually is helpful. Unlike many tutorials, this game actually gives you the basics of the game and gives you a chance to try out some of the weapons. So when you first sign in, you're going to have to go and deal with this douchebag right here and jump, squat, and sprint, and then slide down this mountain. Once you've done that, you'll get access to the guns after you open the little crate down here to the right. You'll have to slide down with you, and then you get through that quite simple. You're going to go up to the crate, open it. You're going to want to throw the ordnance, change ordnance to a different one, to the grenade probably, and then heal yourself. Now you'll have access to all the guns. All the guns will spawn after you pick up the gun out of this. Alright, so now you have a gun. It took a long time for no reason, but now you have a gun and you guys are trying to improve your aim. So what I recommend you do is you guys go and find guns, test them out, shoot them, and see if you like them. If you don't like the way they feel, don't use them. Just go ahead and find some guns that you think you might like, and go to each section and find something that might fit in your playstyle. So I found some guns that I kind of like here. I'm just gonna go and check this out. Alright, so these are some guns I could see myself using in certain situations. So what you're gonna want to do is stand here and you're gonna just go and try to shoot these guys in the head, just aiming and using your gun to shoot them. Just getting a feel, shooting these targets up, just getting a feel of aiming with them and how they feel when you hold down. So once you're done doing that and you got a good feel of it, you're gonna want to go and try to aim for the head and only for the head on all these targets, the middle one every time. I recommend you do this standing still when you first start, because it'll just give you a more natural feel, and it's kind of a little bit more difficult. So once you get good at doing that standing still, I recommend you go ahead and move around side to side. This side to side movement is known as strafing. Super important in this game compared to a lot of other games. Strafing actually is very beneficial, and it's just highly recommended due to the burst fire weapons. Once you got that down, I recommend you stand still again and then fire on the moving targets. Firing on a moving target is a lot more difficult than firing on a stationary target. So once you are done doing that, you can then move on to moving side to side with the weapon of your choice and hitting the moving targets. This will help you improve slight adjustments to your aim while shooting it. So I recommend, This will help improve your adjustments when shooting at a target multiple times. So let's just say I have an assault rifle like this, and you want to help improve your aim on something like the R301. Hitting a target from this far is pretty easy because the target is massive, but in real games, the target's actually quite small, and hitting them for 23 damage or 14 damage is not going to be enough to put them down. So what you have to do is kind of shoot in bursts so you can do multiple shots. So there I did 14 and 28. So you just tap fire and hope that more than one bullet hits. Tap firing is a common way to control recoil, and I highly recommend you practice tap firing on targets. And this is a really good way not to waste a clip all at once in case you're missing like crazy. You can reassess where your bullets are actually going, where your aim actually is when you're tap firing. So fortunately, this game has put in a feature where you guys can actually change an assault rifle that's fully automatic to a single fire mode. Now this is super important for engaging enemies at a distance, because now it's like a DMR style gun, single fire, like a pistol, tap fire weapon, and this just reduces the recoil completely. Like it's almost like you have no recoil. Like you have to shoot really fast for the recoil, but your accuracy increases like crazy. So when fighting someone at a distance, or you're at a disadvantage because your teammate has pushed and you need to give him cover fire from afar because you weren't planning on engaging, you can now change your gun into a single fire weapon and still give him cover from afar. So this is going to help you guys in gameplay and not only just with aim. So knowing this is super important, and you can do this by hitting left on the D-pad to change your gun to single fire or to automatic fire mode. Next, I recommend you go ahead and pick up a gun like a shotgun. I use the EVA for this just for general practices, and I recommend you come over here and stand here. Now this is going to be called peeking, or some people like to flick, but you can't really do that on console. It's kind of difficult, so we'll just call it peeking. And it's pretty much a combination of strafing and lining up your shot before you become seen. So if I were to imagine this to be a doorway in a real game, and this is like the wall in front of the doorway, you guys are going to want to go over like this, shotgun that guy, peep, shotgun that guy, and try not to come out too far. And it just gives you a good example. And then that's another thing you can practice too, is doing with a basic assault rifle too. When you say this is a rock, maybe you go and have your shots lined up. So that's super important. Learning how to use your sight to your advantage. So you can do that over there, and then I recommend you, especially with shotguns, learn how to slide and shoot. So sliding in, shooting him a few times is definitely a skill that you guys need to have. So running, sliding, and shooting. Have a target you have in mind, turn around, slide towards him. Alright. So again, peeking. Super important skill to have. So remember guys, number one, pacing your shots in certain situations. Number two, taking advantage of single fire mode. And number three, which is probably the most important one, is strafing. Learning to move side to side and keeping your target on a moving object. This will make you guys so much better in the game and give you guys a huge advantage over your opponents. Moving on to settings, this is what I recommend for settings. This is what I recommend you guys do for settings. Is you go over here, hold start, go to your settings, and go to controller. Down here you have sensitivity, which is your rotational axis, so how quickly you look side to side without aiming down your sight. So just general looking. And then you have your aim down sight sensitivity, so when you're actually scoped in or looking down your sight or aiming, this is how quick your aim will move side to side. Generally speaking, I would recommend you guys keep this at default, and then your sensitivity at default or higher. But for your ADS sensitivity, again, default or low, depending on the type of player you are. And then as you get more skilled, maybe you can move up into the higher sensitivity. It's very hard for new players, especially because it's a new game, to play at 10 out of 10, especially if you're not used to that on other games. Now your response curve is actually pretty important too. It depends on your playstyle. It's automatically at classic, but a lot of people are kind of used to something like steady. So classic or steady is something I'd recommend, and if you're using like an elite controller where you have your custom settings in there, go linear. And then your dead zone, keep at small, for sure, keep it at small. Do not put it to large. I do not recommend putting it large at all. Keep it at small. And then movement dead zone, keep at small again. And then that's about it. So the sensitivity is kind of preference, and then down here I keep it to default or low. Last but not least, I'd say field of view. You can increase this. This will affect your aiming completely and totally. I recommend you leave it at basic because I don't see there being a huge advantage of having something bigger. So again, do what you think is best for you, but again, something to consider when you're looking at your aim. Another thing that goes with sliding, something I recommend you guys do practice, is actually shooting people well on zip lines. That's another thing that happens actually quite often. And then coming up here and shooting from a high up, just getting a different vantage point to shoot these targets. It's actually quite important to be able to do that. And then here's something that happens actually quite often as well. It's hopping down and having to land and shoot an opponent. That is very difficult to do, and if you guys can practice that, that will help you guys out a lot with your aim. So this is how I recommend you guys improve your aim other than actually playing the game. If you guys have anything to add to help people improve their aim, please let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to drop a like, and as always, thanks for watching.